Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894. I'm Hugh and I've got Joe here with me for this very special preview. City versus Everton, obviously the final Premier League game of the season, but it is also the trophy day. We finally get our hands again on the Premier League trophy, back where it belongs, in the Etihad. Blue ribbons. Let's get into our thoughts. Okay, so as I said in the intro, this is the final Premier League game of the season. The season has come into a conclusion now. We have one more really competitive game the following weekend. We'll talk about that though next week, the Champions League final. But this one is a very special occasion for multiple reasons. Obviously, Sergio Aguero playing his final game in the Etihad. What a servant to the club he's been. We have a very special video for him coming out next week, so do stay tuned for that. Of course, like I said as well, we're getting the Premier League trophy. We wrapped it up a week or two ago, and now we're getting our hands on it, rightfully so. Deserved champions, and of course, we're playing Everton as well. I don't think they have much to play for, so it's kind of more of an occasion. 10,000 City fans allowed in. It's going to be fantastic to see. I really hope the Blues to get in there, and I've got tickets to enjoy the occasion, see another trophy, say goodbye to Aguero. Joe, what are you expecting from the whole occasion? Because obviously what happens on the pitch, it's quite irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, it means absolutely nothing. Be nice to get, have the fans get a send-off for Aguero as well. End on a win, that'd be great. Last home game in the season, last game in the season. Going into the Champions League final on a loss isn't ideal. So, there could be a bit of effect if we do lose, but, I expect us to win. We're at home. Pep said that Aguero has trained, so I expect him to play some part during the match, whether he starts. I don't know, but he will definitely play, get the send-off. And obviously the trophy is being presented by Colin Bell's son as well. They announced that. And I forgot his name, but there's a kid who had some sort of illness. Yeah, who's also presenting the trophy. So that'd be quite nice.
Really, really nice touch from the club to allow this kid, Jake, who has had a tough time in recent weeks or months. I don't know the full story, but he's going to get a very memorable occasion where he will get to present Fernandinho and Aguero with the Premier League trophy. But obviously, for the fans, it's more of an occasion. It's going to be a really nice climax to what was an unbelievable season on the pitch for the Blues. Obviously, we're in a Champions League final. We've retained the Premier League. We've retained the Carabao Cup for the fourth in a row, and now 10,000 Blues are going to get in. But from Pep's perspective and the players' perspective, it isn't so much an occasion. Yes, they'll enjoy their few hours post lifting the trophy, but the actual 90 minutes on the pitch, in my opinion, are going to be used for analysing who we play in the Champions League final, and maybe also used as a mechanism to increase match sharpness. So we may see a bit of a few of the more regular starting 11 players playing this weekend, maybe a mix of both rotated and starting 11 players. We'll get into our predicted 11 in a few minutes' time, but do you think Pep, do you kind of see what I'm getting at with the sort of one eye on Champions League final thing? It'll be a different mentality in the players' camp than the fans' camp, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think you could say a bit of half and half rotation. Obviously, I think players like Gundogan, who came off against Brighton, I think he's going to play. De Bruyne, I think I'd expect De Bruyne to play just because he hasn't been involved in the last couple of weeks. So I'd expect him to get at least 50, 60 minutes. Just as a bit of a, getting a bit of sharpness there. We obviously know that Cancelo's now suspended, so you'd think it'd be Walker at right back, but you never know. He could throw a curveball and put Garcia there again, but, I don't think anybody wants to say that anymore. And, yeah, we know Ederson's going to start as well, so, there are certain players where you look at and you go, well, if they haven't been involved recently, then they're more than likely going to play.
For the players on the pitch, like I keep saying, they will enjoy the occasion, but it's also their final opportunity, their final chance to put themselves in the shop window to play in the biggest game of essentially their careers the following Saturday in Portugal. So like it won't be a party day for them. It'll be business as usual. They're all going to put in 110%, whoever plays. Like I said, they're going to just be out there to give it all and try put themselves in the shop window. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think players like, obviously we know what we want to see at this moment in time in the final. We know what we want our 11 to be, but there are still some players in there, like you could say a Sterling, or I don't know, you could even say a Rodri if he plays. They could possibly try and work their way into this team. So there's still a few places to play for. Obviously, we don't want too much hassle around the 11. We'd ideally like to see the same sort of team we saw against Paris, because we think that at the moment, given form, that is our best lineup. But there can be changes if players do perform and if certain players don't perform.
Obviously, Everton they're a decent team. They have some very good attacking threats. Richarlison seems to be having a decent season. Calvert-Lewin We'll probably put in a big shift in the basis that he's trying to get into Southgate's Euro squad, which is announced next week as well. So, but from a City perspective, it's the last game before this Champions League final, and when you're going into a final like a Champions League or any final, really, every last percentage of advantage counts. So it is also in some ways a must-win just for that extra little bit of confidence. If you know what I mean. I mean, you don't want to finish off your domestic campaign with a loss, and then you're kind of having to lift yourself back up again for a Champions League final. It comes down to every 1%, in my opinion. And a send-off from domestic football to transition into Champions League football with a win would be absolutely magnificent. So with that set in mind, let's get over to our starting 11 and see who we have predicted to play this game. Okay, so our predicted 11, as always, this is not in the know information. We are just speculating as to what we think Pep will go for against Everton. So as always, Ederson in nets. We kind of knew this about a week ago. Pep said Ederson would play the last 2 Premier League games. We've gone for Walker on the right, based on the fact that Cancelo is now suspended following his red card against Brighton. Diaz and Laporte, the 2 centre-halves. We took out John Stones on the basis that Laporte has played little or no football, and maybe the little bit of rest will do John Stones some good for the Champions League final, because we think he is a shoo-in for the Champions League final. And then the almighty Zinchenko comes back in a left-back. He has been phenomenal, particularly since the turn of the year. I think he's been one of the best left-backs in the country, probably rivaling Luke Shaw for the best. Possibly slightly underrated by the rest of the footballing world, but he's been fantastic for us. What are your thoughts on that back four, and why have we gone with them?
Pretty straightforward for me. Cancelo suspended, he can't play. I wouldn't play Mendy because I don't think he's in contention for the final at all. I think Laporte will play. Whether he plays alongside Stones or Diaz, I think he's more likely to play alongside Diaz for me. Given, it's just Diaz. I think Diaz can handle more football than Stones. I wouldn't want to risk Stones getting injured because he does, even though he stayed fit for the most part this season, he still does have that unwanted injury record. So, I'd play Diaz, and obviously Pep said Ederson's going to play. So, straightforward for me. I'd be surprised if you see anything too different.
In defensive midfield, we have gone with Fernandinho because Rodri played against Brighton, and probably one of the main talking points for the Brighton game, yes, the result wasn't great, but it was the poor performance from Rodri. Many were saying he actually played himself out of contention for the Champions League final. We always kind of believed from the Champions League games anyway that Fernandinho would go on to play the final anyway, but if there was any chance of Rodri playing, I think anyway he played himself out through his game against Brighton. But Fernandinho will need the match fitness. There's a week between the Everton game and or 6 days between the Everton game and the Chelsea game, so this bit of match fitness for Fernandinho, get the sharpness up, and then prepare for the Champions League final will do him the world of good. And then just in front of him, we've gone for Bernardo, an absolute animal in the middle of the park. I think he's a shoo-in for the Champions League final as well, and he has the energy to play both games, and he's going to be crucial in the Champions League final. And then because of Gundogan's slight injury, we think Pep will rest him to play him in the Champions League final. We have dropped De Bruyne from the false 9 into midfield beside Bernardo. Joe, thoughts on the midfield?
Again, I think it's straightforward with Gundogan not wanting to be risked due to being taken off due to just precaution of injury. De Bruyne not playing any minutes. Rodri, he's played the last couple of games. He did make that mistake against Brighton, unfortunately. It wasn't his best game. Fernandinho does need minutes. You could see Rodri come on at some point just to save Fernandinho, because we do need to remember he's 36. Whether he plays like it or not, he is, towards the end of his career, unfortunately. And with Bernardo, he has the energy to play most games week in, week out, so I don't see it being too much of a problem. I doubt you'll see anyone like a Doyle involved today.
No, this will be a massive exercise for the whole team in getting themselves in the best possible condition for the Champions League final, which is why we did go with De Bruyne in midfield. Obviously, he missed a couple of games through a minor injury, and this is his last chance to get that extra few miles in the leg, whatever you want to say, to get him as fit as we possibly can get him for the Champions League final, because he is such a key component for us in these massive games. That leadership, that quality, that ability. We know the story. He's absolutely crucial. So moving into the front three, some interesting choices. On the left, we have gone with Raheem Sterling. Yes, don't come at us in the comments. Phil Foden is not starting in our predicted 11, but that's on the basis that fans are back in the stadium. We know Sterling is a confidence-based player. We think Pep will give Sterling a chance to prove himself for the Champions League final, even though Phil Foden will probably start. You may see Sterling get a half against Everton and Foden get the other half. It's just going to be an opportunity, and also you want Foden as fresh as possible. He's probably, in my eyes, the main player, Phil Foden. You do not want to pick up an injury this weekend because he's going to be absolutely essential to our Champions League final game. And then up front, the man essentially of the day. It's his day. Yes, it's the club's day for winning the Premier League, but this guy has spent so many years at the club, been such a servant, so many goals. Probably could have broken some major individual records had injury not hindered his career. Sergio Aguero, we were putting him up front, and he'll probably wear the captain's armband. We know he is lifting the trophy with Fernandinho, which will be presented by Colin Bell's son and this kid Jake. So it'll be a great occasion for him, a fantastic send-off from the fans, I do hope, and I believe he will get. So it is his farewell to the Etihad, and he deserves to start this game. We have no doubt. We think Pep will do that. Be surprised if he didn't. And on the right, the Algerian king, Riyad Mahrez, he will be another key component for the Champions League final. Our two wingers, Mahrez and Foden, we think will play the final. And we think this is just like De Bruyne. It's a chance for Mahrez to get those extra few miles in the legs and be in great shape for the final. All pending no injury. I think the main part of this game that we're looking at is just no injury. Yes, like I said a few minutes ago, we'd like a good result, to give us confidence for the final. But the main thing, overall, which overrides everything, is no injury. So with that said, Joe, thoughts on the front three?
Yeah, I think, like you said before, Sterling is one of these confidence players. I think playing in front of fans could help him. I think he's one of the players where, God forbid, we do get an injury in the front line, you'd probably see him come in. I think he's currently the first in line to come in, probably will be an impact sub in the final. I think he'll get some minutes. Aguero, as you said, his last home game, he will play some part. If he's fit enough, he'll probably start. There's no, saving him because he probably won't play in the final, unfortunately, but that's just how it is at the moment. And then Mahrez, will he start? Will he not? You could start Torres, Jesus. You could even start Foden there. It doesn't really matter. I expect whoever starts there, if they're going to be in the final, I expect them to be taken off at some point just to save players, because you don't want an injury at this stage. This is the worst time for an injury to come up. So, you could see anything here, really. I think the front three is probably the hardest thing to predict in this team.
I think if we do start to win the game with like relative comfort, you may see some substitutes like Cole Palmer get a run out, probably get himself a Premier League medal. Maybe Tommy Doyle, who knows? But on the Sterling point, we know even though he's not first choice winger anymore because Foden has essentially taken his place, the club are still, the reports are looking to get him to sign a new contract. So Pep does obviously see him as still a very important part of the squad. So we think he will be given the opportunity anyway of at least the first 45 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever, to show what he can do and build some confidence. Because I do think, even though he probably won't start the final, I do think he will play some part in some shape or form. I don't know what, but I think he'll play some part because he does always carry that threat regardless. But anyway, that is our predicted 11. Let us know yours down in the comments. Would you make any changes? Anyone you would like to see? Anyone you'd like us to take out? Let us know down in the comments. You're usually very good at that. Let's move over to our score predictions. Joe, obviously the score is it's quite irrelevant, because it is not going to affect the league standings. We're still getting the trophy regardless. But I did say a few minutes ago that confidence is key going into Champions League final. And, a win against Everton will probably do us a little bit of good. What is your prediction?
I think Everton's away record is pretty decent. And obviously our away record, despite the loss against Brighton, is better than our home record. But I think, like you said before, players will be hungry because it's the last game before the final. Some players want to prove themselves. Some players, just want to cement their place. So I'm thinking 2-0 win.
2-0 win. Have you any scorers? Have you any scorers in mind? Bear in mind it's Aguero's last game. He will want to score so badly to at least equal the record.
Yeah, he's one goal away from equaling that Wayne Rooney record. But unfortunately, I don't think he's going to score. I think you could see Mahrez score if he starts this one. I think he's a player to look out for because he scored in the reverse fixture away. Scored that beautiful goal from outside the box. So I think if he starts, he'll get one.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with a 3-1. I think we'll concede once. I don't know, maybe just from switching off. I don't know. I just have a feeling we'll concede one, but 3-1. I think Aguero will get one. I'm fully confident he's going to have two reasons to score a goal or to be really hungry. He wants to equal or try to break that record, and he wants to give himself a slight chance, a bit of glimmer of hope to feature in some shape or form in the Champions League final. So I'm going to give him my backing. Aguero, on your final day, do us proud. Fully believe you, and I hope you get the right send-off. So 3-1 for me, 2-0 from Joe. We take either, and it's going to be a nice day. And just to let you know, we're not doing a live watch along on our channel as usual. We're going to be over, myself and Joe, on Louis XI's channel. We're having a bit of a sort of celebration live stream. We're going to watch it together. There'll be plenty of Blues. I think there's multiple people going to be in that live stream, so do come along and watch that if you would. Show some support, enjoy the occasion, because we don't know when we'll win the Premier League again. You have to enjoy every single one like it's your last. So thanks for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. We're trying to hit, I don't know what, 235, 240. Hit something, bit of growth. Anything will be nice. So subscribe if you're new. And if you do fancy it, the link to our Discord server where there's loads of Blues and you can get your name on screen for all our videos and live streams is down in the description. Do take that if you fancy it. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you hopefully in Louis' stream on Sunday. Peace.